Hey, this is Tejas and Donbass. I want to talk a little bit more about Trump and the unfinished election for the President of the United States. First, about Trump, I got a lot of friends that are real happy that he got elected. I don't know if I'm very happy that he got elected. I'm glad that Clinton got defeated, but what Trump has done so far, his past actions and his actions choosing his cabinet, they really don't impress me much. And the first guy I want to talk about in his cabinet, of course, is Pence, his vice presidential running mate. And this dude Pence, he's already said, and I quote, he said that Dick Cheney is his role model and his hero. And you remember Dick Cheney, one of the worst war criminals in American history? That dude, during the Bush administration, the so-called Bush administration, Cheney was the one who pulled the strings. Bush was a clown, he was a puppet, he was the one that distracted the public, while Cheney made every move behind the scenes. Cheney was the President of the United States, not George Bush. George Bush was nothing, he was just a distraction. Cheney called the shots, Cheney pulled the strings, Cheney's the one who made the decisions. I mean, if you recall, when George Bush couldn't decide who to have for a running mate, he asked Dick Cheney to suggest who should be Bush's running mate. And Cheney said, "Oh, I should be your running mate." Bush took his advice and followed his orders for the next 8 years. So, this dude Pence, I'm afraid that in Trump's administration, Pence will wear the pants, and Trump will just dance to Pence's tune. I mean, Trump calls himself a self-made man. His father, Fred Trump, was a slumlord, or as they called it before the Russian Revolution, a kulak. He was a guy that he owned 27,000 apartments in New York City. He owned them, the people who rented them paid for them, and he kept the title to them. So this dude's just a slumlord from way back. He made millions. He was worth 250 to 300 million when he died. That's the kind of backing that Donald Trump had as a kid growing up. He took over his dad's company when he was 25 years old. So when you start off with a $250 million company under your control, it's hard not to be successful, somewhat successful. Of course, Trump, he had a lot of legal troubles, a lot of tax troubles. His casinos in Atlantic City went bankrupt. I think he's had 6 different bankruptcies over the years. And he says, oh, that's just business, you know. And what bankruptcy is you owe a bunch of money and then you go to court and you default on paying back the people that you owe. And that's what Trump has done half a dozen times. Not very impressive to me. Of course, he's still rich. Trump's personal fortune is estimated around $4.5 billion. So, you know, you talk about an oligarch, he is exactly that. He's not anything about the people. He's a huckster, a showman. He's just a jive-ass turkey. He's someone that's a lot of talk, but he's not very good when it comes to getting the job done, if you ask me. I'm really not impressed. I mean, his show, The Apprentice, you know, him saying, "Oh, you're fired." To me, that just seems like a clown. But he's not going to be the ones calling the shots. His vice president has already said he's going to follow the example of Dick Cheney, and he's going to be pulling the strings. Another guy on Trump's administration is this dude, Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee. You don't get much more insider than that. And that's going to be Trump's chief of staff. He's going to be the dude that decides who Trump meets, what he hears. He's the guy that's going to be directing Trump. And he's going to be tight with Pence, and the two of those guys are just going to be telling Trump what to do. I have a friend who's a cop from New Jersey. He knows Trump's history well. He says that anybody that's a big real estate developer in New York, especially New York City, you have to deal with the mafia. The mafia supposedly controls the labor unions in New York City. So if you want something built, you got to deal with La Cosa Nostra. The mafia is small potatoes compared to the oligarchs and real criminals, the true sharks that run the government, that own the U.S. government, that he has to deal with now. If Trump bucks up in any way, he's going to meet with an accident, I'm sure. In the meantime, he's just going to be told what to do. He's going to be dancing to their tune. I don't think that anything is going to change under Donald Trump. But that is even if he does take the White House. One of the first things we'll see is whether he's got the brains and the courage to defeat the attempt by Hillary Clinton now to re-rig the election. And this is really a very scary and dangerous development. Now Clinton, with the help of the traitor Jill Stein from the Green Party, is going to recount the votes in several different states. Remember, in 16 states, George Soros owns the voting machines. These are electronic voting machines. There's no paper trail. There's no way to really prove what the votes are. These computer voting machines can be hacked. They can be reprogrammed. So there's no way to tell if the first vote was real, and there's no way to tell if the recount is real. So, I mean, of course, Hillary Clinton is a proven criminal. I mean, she is true warmonger. She is evil personified. If she is allowed to take the White House, then the social unrest that will come after that will be well deserved. And I hope that it would be severe enough that it would prevent her from taking the White House. But this is the problem of the American people. They have known for decades that their voting machines are rigged, that they can be hacked, that they can be reprogrammed. And they are, and they have been in the past. And this is the year when those birds are going to come home to roost. This is the year when the election is going to be blatantly stolen right in front of your face, and Clinton will just laugh and say, what are you going to do about it? And that is the good question. What are you going to do about it? Because these criminals, they are so secure in their own power now that they don't even try to hide their crimes. I mean, for example, you know, Trump says, oh, there should be another investigation of the events of 9/11. Well, of course there should. But really, any intelligent, sane person already knows what happened. And the proof of that is simply in the building number 7 falling down straight into its footprint at free fall speed. There is no other possible explanation other than that building was rigged with controlled demolition, internally exploded and dropped right into its footprint. I mean, there is no other explanation. That is what happened. And so how could that have happened? Only with the collusion of the U.S. government, including the mayor of New York, who had his emergency reaction office in the building number 7, Rudy Giuliani. So Trump says he's going to reinvestigate 9/11, but then he says he's also thinking about making Giuliani his Attorney General or Secretary of State. Don't make me laugh. See, that just goes to prove what I have said for decades. What they say means nothing. What they do proves everything. So the people of America have a choice. You know, they're going to be ruled by Nazis whether Trump sits in the White House or Clinton sits in the White House. They're going to be ruled by Nazis. And they can either bend over and take it, or they can do something about it. And you say, oh, Tejas, what can we do about it? Well, all I can say is the people of Donbass 2 years ago were faced with the same choice, to either accept fascist rule or to do something about it. We've done something about it, and it's to our honor that we did. We have opposed the fascist regime that was imposed upon us, and we have fought them to a standstill. I mean, am I calling for revolution? Well, I'm just saying that it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. The people of Donbass know that. We've made our choice. You can take a look at how that's gone for us, how the quality of life is here, where we are free and stand up for ourselves, compared to how the quality of life is in Western Ukraine, where they are under the fascist boot. And decide for yourself. Talk is cheap. You know, hitting like on a Facebook page doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. You know, carrying a sign, that's a start. Marching around in the street, that's a start. But, you know, then if you go back home and pop open a beer and start watching the football game, that doesn't mean nothing. Look at the lesson of the Occupy Wall Street movement. If you're going to stand up and fight fascism, there's only two ways that ends, either victory or death. You don't have to take my word for it. You already know. The people of America already know that life is getting worse for them. They already know that they're getting screwed 6 ways from Sunday. Every morning when they wake up, it's just to get screwed again. And that's going to keep on happening as long as you let it. So, my advice to the American people, you know, you've been getting screwed. Let go of your ankles, pull your pants up, do something about it. But when you do it, understand that it's serious business, you know, and it really is victory or death. And, you know, our life is what we make of it. Our society is what we make of it. America's got a long way to go to becoming a free and decent society. It is not at all what it pretends to be now. So, I'm doing my part here in my new country. This is my country now, and I'm defending it, and I will defend it to the death. And, you know, I came here against long odds, and so far, so good. And however it turns out, I am proud of what I've done, and I make no apologies. You can be proud of what you do too, or you can sit in front of the TV and do nothing. And on your deathbed, you can look back at your life and say, I wish I would have done things differently. This is it. This is the time when we decide the future for all of humanity. Right now, in Donbass, in Syria, that future is being decided by real, true heroes who are standing up and they say, I don't care if the odds are 100 to 1. I'm going to fight. So, it's long odds in the United States too. They have quite a system of oppression that they've built up over the last few decades. But it's only going to get worse, so the sooner you start standing up to it, the less difficult it will be. So to all my friends in the United States, I say good luck. Do what you need to do. Take a realistic look at the situation. You can figure out where it's going to go from there. Do you think things are going to get better the way they're going or worse? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Take a lesson from the example of the Cuban Revolution. Take a lesson from a leadership of a hero like Fidel Castro and follow his example. Look at Trump, he's a clown. Look at Fidel, he is a hero for the ages. So there's the examples, you make your choice. Fidel was just an ordinary man who decided he was going to do what had to be done, no matter how difficult, no matter how dangerous, and he did it and he succeeded. The lesson of the Cuban Revolution is that when serious people, dedicated people get together and make the decision that they will fight fascism till victory or death, they do have a chance for victory. So, hasta la victoria, siempre.